Breaking just moments ago, Trump issued a slew of new pardons for criminals with MAGA connections. Then a town hall outrage voters grill a Republican congressman over his support for the president's budget bill. And corruption watch. Team Trump making money off cryptocurrency and using their offices to promote it.
So let's begin tonight with the breaking news that's been developing over the last several hours. Donald Trump has been on a pardon spree. The recipients include former reality TV couple Todd and Julie Chrisley, who were convicted of tax fraud and fraud with tax evasion. Former Republican Congressman Michael Grimm, who was convicted of tax fraud. Former Lieutenant Mark Bashaw, who was discharged from the Army after being convicted by a military judge for violating COVID rules, and at least 5 others. Also today, Trump said this about potential pardons for the men behind the plot to kidnap Michigan Governor President Bush.
I'm going to look at it. I will take a look at it. It's been brought to my attention. I did watch the trial. It looked to me like somewhat of a railroad job. I'll be honest with you. It looked to me like some people said some stupid things. You know, they were drinking, and I think they said stupid things. But I'll take a look at that.
Joining us at the table, Mark Joseph Stern, senior writer for Slate, and also with us, Lisa Rubin, MSNBC correspondent.
Big picture, Mark. What is the message?
It's like notes. Interesting.
6-part anti-setting and uploading.
Oh.
I think Laura and Slavitsa, if you guys want to mute, we're getting feedback from you guys. Okay, should be back.
For those of you who are on Zoom, we're gonna start in about 2 minutes.
Nwca Cac Eqc. And for those of you who haven't gotten a chance to use our interpretation service, please click on the globe on the bottom right of your screen and select the language of your choice. Buenas tardes a todos, mi nombre es Francisco, soy Language Access y para aquellos que no han tenido la oportunidad de usar el servicio de interpretación, por favor, seleccionen, pulsen el globito en la parte inferior derecha de su pantalla y seleccionen el idioma de su preferencia. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Francisco.
Thank you, Francisco.
Well, welcome everybody to the Community Advisory Committee meeting. We have a full agenda this evening. Dime.
Nos está explicando María que no estamos conectados todavía, pero que ahorita vamos a comenzar.
They should now be able to hear us. Can you
Okay.
guys hear us online?
Yes, now we can.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So we're gonna go ahead and do introductions for in person, and then we're gonna move towards virtual introductions, and then we'll go ahead and start with the agenda. So Lexi, if you want to start.
My name is Alexis Calzari. I'm with the authority. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm Jenna Garcia with the authority.
Hello, I'm Jeannie Griego with the authority.
I am Lori Larita and I'm with the Community Initiatives with the National Westerners Center.
Eduardo Gonzalez, I'm from CSU Spur. Kelvin DeWara, community members.
Asia Valero, community member as well.
Slavica Clark with CRL and consulting on national reconstruction.
Catherine Archuleta, your facilitator.
John Simon with Perkins and Will, we're with the design team.
María Alcalá, de la comunidad. Sandra Ruiz from Global, and also community member, representing the National Western Board.
Brian Perry, with the mayor's office of National Western.
Mike Bouchard, mayor's office.
I'm Carolyn, I'm a community member. Carolyn, would you like to sit at the, there's a place right here for you. No, I'm sorry, what was your name? Carolyn.
Carolyn, thank you.
Okay, now I can see the screen and, Chris.
Hey everyone, hopefully you can hear me. Yep. My name is Chris Callanan. I'm a community engagement specialist with the Denver Department of Transportation and Infrastructure, and I'm happy to join you all this evening.
Right.
Dwight Clark, Senior Policy Advisor to Councilman Darrell Watson.
Angela.
Hello, everyone. My name is Angela Garcia. First of all, I'm a Gloville resident, and secondly, a member of the Community Investment Fund. Thank you.
Laura.
Hi, I'm Laura Walsh. I'm also a community member, but am part of the GH2 Equine Architecture team.
Becca.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Trujillo. I am a Globeville resident and a part of Globeville First.
John? Oh, that's you. Hovlich?
Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Jared Hoflich with the Authority.
Oh. Oh. I had never known your last name, so thank you. Wendell. Oh, no, Wendell's one of our interpreters. Did you skip Christina? Do I see Christina? Mm-hmm. Oh, Christina, sorry.
Hi, I'm Christina Garcia. I'm with Birdsea Collective as well as the Glowville Center and longtime Glowville resident.
Thank you, Christina. CBPE, that is AE, and she does not have audio. Okay, Steve?
Hi everyone, Steve Nally, National Western Center Authority.
Kristen?
Kristen Lang, Nwca.
I think you said Claudia.
Yes, I did.
Okay, sorry. Hi, this is Claudia and I'm with Focus Points.
Thank you, Claudia. And let's see what we have up there. Right. Perfect timing.
Oh, sure, it is.
Whatever was best. Hang on just a moment, everybody on the in Zoom room. Welcome.
Hello. Hello, young lady. How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
I'm nice.
Sit down.
We were just doing introductions. Would you two like to introduce yourselves?
Yes, I'm Bill Rivera, I'm from Globeville. And I belong to the GDS Coalition.
Great. Welcome.
I'm Jessica Herrera.
And I live in Global. Thank you, Jess.
Thank you.
Did I catch everybody?
John Simon, oh no, John, you're here.
All right. So, Lori, do you want to talk about the agenda?
Yeah,
For tonight?
so, we're gonna go ahead and get started with, we're gonna have some partner updates and we just wanted to make this as fluid as possible. We're gonna talk about any updates with Nwca as well as, if there's any updates with, Western Stock Show. And then we're gonna go into some updates with CSU Spur.
Mhm.
Yes. I'm sorry, you're sitting right next to me. I got shell back, sorry. And then we're just kind of gonna go from there, but our first one is just really talking about the introduction. I really want to say thank you for participating in today's CAC. We're trying to get more input from the community as well as our partner updates. As we move into it, we're gonna go into Steve Nally, which is the Equestrian Center Hotel and Task Force updates. And then we're just kind of go down the line of Nwca updates with transportation of what's changed and what we're moving forward, and then Nwca will move next. So if we could have.
Okay, so, do we have some slides that are gonna go on?
Only thing Steve's. Yeah, so Steve, is.
No, I'm gonna go first. I have two slides.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not sure. Sorry about that.
That's okay. We're patient.
Probably technology.
I think we want to go back up, after the first one. The second one. Okay, because we have some new members here together, I wanted just to spend a little bit of time on the work that we've done as the CAC over the course of the last few years. And in building the CAC with its mission and purpose, values and goals, we've really focused in on how we're gonna work together. So I just want to remind everybody here, as well as share with our new guests, that we work together in a spirit of trust and respect, that we value openness and transparency, and we really do encourage everybody to engage and inspire one another, but also to be open to new ideas, because all of our voices matter. And we understand we are a community and that there are realities each and every day, and that we strive for partnership through collaboration and cooperation. We don't have any decision making schedule for tonight, but I just wanted to share with all of our new members that in fact, we have a process for reaching decision making, and that's by building consensus. And whenever we have a decision to make, we really adhere to reaching consensus. That is really working in a very collaborative way to reach the decisions that need to be made. So I just wanted to share those because I know we have several new members here tonight. And with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Steve.
Hi, everyone. Again, I'm Steve Nally. I'm the Chief Real Estate Officer at the National Western Center Authority. I don't have any slides tonight. Don't have much of an update on the Equestrian Center Hotel Housing Park and Garage project. We have taken the project support agreement to City Council and have had 2 delays. We will be going back to City Council on June 2nd. As a reminder, the project support agreement supports the project. It provides the funding for design and construction, and it sets the community benefit requirements so that we, the authority, can then reach a deal or work towards a deal with the developer through authority agreements. Following approval, we do look forward to continuing discussions on design with this group, design of the entire project, in addition to the housing, and especially the community space. And then, of course, operational discussions on the community space. There's a lot to discuss there around booking procedures and how a liquor license might work, and ensuring that it is a true community asset and free for community's use. And so there's a lot to discuss on how we make sure that comes to fruition over the next several years. And then, of course, we need to talk about mechanics of the community benefits. The project support agreement lists several, about a dozen community benefits, and so we need to work towards defining exactly how those work. Like, how should the hotel operator promote local businesses in the hotel? What exactly does that look like? Is this scanning a QR code in the lobby and learning about the history of the neighborhood and what offerings are surrounding the neighborhood? Or is there a showcase in the lobby of the hotel? Or is there a list of restaurants in Globeville, Elyria, Swansea in every hotel room? So there's much more to discuss and really defining the mechanics of those benefits. That's one of them. Also, look forward to gearing up for construction jobs discussion. We have several more months following approval of City Council. We have several more months of design, and then we'll start gearing up for breaking ground. And so we want to revisit many of the ideas that came up from this group around making sure that there are true construction jobs for community members. What that looks like. There are a lot of good ideas, and want to work towards implementing those. And then, of course, start talking about jobs from operations. So certainly much more to come, a lot more to talk about. Again, we're going back to City Council on June 2nd. And that is my update.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Any questions or comments from the CAC? Do you see any hands up, Jenna?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Not right now.
Okay. Moving to the next agenda item is the Mayor's Office of the National Western Center with Mike.
And I'll ask Brian to weigh in here too on the greater GES program of projects coordination that we continue working on. But before we do that, real quick on Nwca updates. Livestock Center continues construction. We are in the final home stretch. That will complete in October and will debut at Stock Show in January 2026. So we're very excited about that. A lot of work going into that in coordination with the Legacy Building, which is Stock Show's building to which we are attached. So a lot of focus there. We are finalizing the design on the pedestrian bridge and hope to have that out for bid later this year and start construction on that next year. And then, as Steve mentioned, obviously we're continuing to work on the Equestrian Center project. And then also gearing up for our planning effort on Triangle, which will also start later this year. So a lot will be happening this year from the mayor's office. And now I'll turn over to Brian.
Yeah, a lot of construction going on in the area, including the levee project. As some of you may have seen, that project is in full swing. That includes the bike detour on the river trail. And you'll see some related road construction on 46th right now. That's some enabling work for the work that they're doing. The two big projects taking place on Washington, which is the 51st realignment and the Washington Street project itself. Both of those projects are in pre-construction and enabling work. So you'll see continued utility work along Washington. And those two projects have pushed out a little bit, I think, since the last update we talked. They're both looking probably September to October to be in full construction. So as you can imagine, there's going to be delays on that project. It's not going to be the entire length of Washington at one time. There's going to be phases to that project. But be on the lookout for more updates on that project in terms of overall construction. Those are the big updates that we have right now in terms of Dottie projects that are happening in the area. If you are not receiving the public newsletter, please drop your name in the comments and we will make sure that you get added to the public newsletter. Chris, who's on here, is helping work on that public newsletter. And that'll help keep you guys up to date on what's going on. That's for all community and all public members.
I would say that's pretty helpful for me. We receive it weekly, and I think that's probably something that I look forward to, just so I can be able to share to the community. So thank you for that.
Yeah, that's the internal update. And then we have, I think we've done 2 issues now of the public newsletter. And one is on it's in draft form right now, and that will be going out soon to the community. And I'll keep you guys up to date on happenings on construction. Oh, sorry, last project is the Heron Pond, Carpio Sanguinetti. That is in full swing. There's some exciting things. You can drive by and see what's going on there. There's no U blockage there. They're working on a very cool bike track right now, which I think is going to be a great community amenity. So that's a neat one. So I encourage you to drive by that once in a while and take a look.
What's a bike track?
A bike like for bicycles.
Oh, is it like a trail?
Like a pump track?
It's like a pump track, yeah.
Oh.
I think it's intended for like mountain bikes and other things like that, so.
And I would just also offer, Chris, if you have any other comments, please, you are our resident Dottie expert.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike. No, I think Brian has it really covered with all of those construction updates. We are really ramping up our kind of ability to be publishing some of those more public facing newsletters to keep folks in the community just up to date on all of the goings on. We love construction after it's done, but during construction, it can be a little bit of a bumpy road. So the city's doing quite a bit of kind of coordination to make sure that we're prioritizing community needs through construction on especially Washington Street here starting September, October.
Thank you, Chris.
And you guys have the art barn. It looks beautiful.
Oh, I freaking do.
It is wonderful just to drive by and see that artwork up there. So I want people to be able to drive by and see how beautiful it is and how interactive it is.
Marcy, did you have the details? Does anyone have the details on the second Saturday that's gonna be the grand opening for that? The second
Yeah.
Saturday?
We are working with Denver Arts and Venues for a kind of a grand opening or ribbon cutting celebration of sorts to honor and celebrate that piece of beautiful art on the campus. And we are looking to coordinate that with the second Saturday here in June. As soon as we have a little bit more information from our partners at Arts and Venues, we will definitely share that out with this group and the broader community as well. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm so grateful, Marcy, for communicating that today, because we had gotten some communication about kind of the June 14th is our second Saturday for the People's Market that we will be providing on the riverfront. Our goal is to really have local 80216 community members be able to sell any items that they have, as well as food, clothing, jewelry. So we will send out that application with the follow-up, but thank you, Marcy. I'm so excited for us to have that on June 14th.
You're very welcome. Yeah, I'm very excited to celebrate it. It's cool. That'll be a neat piece to really gathering.
Yeah. And it's such a great space to be able to drive by and see the swings are up, the art is available and just to know that people can come and kind of siesta if they need to, or just be able to come and have like a nice lunch. So thank you so much for letting us be involved in that.
Will there be a process for reserving that for community members?
So there will be a process that Joe with our operations team that we will talk about like what that looks like, because there will be a space. Obviously, we'll try to have community members be able to reserve it for spaces for their family members, but there will be a reservation component to it.
Great.
But it will be no cost to like the 80216 community.
Comments, questions?
Baby, the baby's taking all of our attention. I'm sorry.
What is his name?
Ilani,
That's
that's girl.
Yeah.
4 months.
beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you.
We have another baby over here.
Yes. Yes.
Another Hawaiian name.
Oh.
Kanaloa.
All right, let's move on to the report from Slavisa.
No report this evening.
No report. Thank you so much.
Okay, and Lori.
So if you want to go to our slide, I really just wanted to talk about some of our upcoming events. We did just have our Mother's Day event, which we will share kind of a small little clip of, we are trying to activate the community on, onto our sustainability efforts. But our biggest focus is really our We Don't Waste community focus on providing food access to our community. And so we to date, our goal is to track and try to get our information out to as many community members as possible. But to date, we've been able to serve 737 households. 38 of those households are from GES. Our goal is for us to be at least 50% more to be in the 80216. So we are working towards that goal of, sharing this to community outlets. But we have really served a total of 3,351 individuals. So I feel like that's, the track that we're really trying to go towards in our next We Don't Waste event and We Cycle, which is Baby Essentials for the Community, is on June 4th from 11 to 1. We do have a text platform that we're able to serve 429, but our goal is to send out those reminders through the text platform to remind people to sign up 24 hours in advance to set up their appointment. If they're not able to, our goal is to work with, today I heard from Birdseed that they would be able to help support some of our delivery to community members that aren't able to get on site or maybe working during that time and not able to pick up their food boxes. So we really are trying to focus on how can we serve more community members if they don't have a vehicle, if they are working, if they are unable to come and pick up their food boxes. So as we move through this process, we really are trying to focus on how can we reach more community members. So on June 4th, if you're able to sign up, that is amazing. But if you are unable, please email me and I will try to find a way to get food to your household. And that is, providing that community support and, trying to figure out ways to get that food to your community. And then our next one, we just had our first, or at least my first event, Mother's Day, Mother Earth. Our goal was just to do an Earth Day event, but the date that was selected was during the day, during a work day. And I have learned this through our communities. So many of our families and so many of our community are working families. They are, working 1 to 3 jobs. And we really wanted to make it more available to have them support and come to our community event. So we did switch it to a Saturday. It might not be ideal, but moving forward, we will be very mindful of making sure that we are talking to the community members, working with our community partners on providing a service that is not, obviously, we had a GS Coalition event that it was providing a Spring Fest, which was, from what I understood from Angela, was such a great event and served so many, like hundreds of people. So I'm so excited that that was able to happen. But as I move into this role, I will make sure that we are not working on double, kind of double dosing on that same day. But we did have an event. I feel like we were productive and providing a lot of community resources and face painting, having dancers, having blessings, and also providing free community resources on that day. So I just want to say thank you. We did do, just kind of this little slide, and we did a video. If you guys are okay with us watching it, it's like, what is it? Like less seconds. It's 20 seconds, but it really does show kind of the energy and, what we want to bring to the community. Yeah, it's so quick, but and it did have music, so maybe it's not like the best platform for the view today, but okay. But if you follow us through the newsletters, our goal is to try to share that kind of our happenings, our videos, and if you have any collective pictures, we want to collect it through that so we can share everybody's experience. We all have different lenses that we're looking through. So I really want us to collectively put it together and, share it through a community lens. The next slide. We had a lot of great community partners that came out that day. And I just wanted to say thank you. If they're on this call today, I just wanted to say, like Emmanuel's Bakery, they came and provided wonderful conchas, like mini conchas, and then we had Swansea Rec Center that came in DJ for free at no cost, and we had a lot of different sustainability education. So I just really wanted to spotlight them because they provided such a great resource for that community that day. We do have the People's Market that will be starting on the second Saturday. Moving forward, our goal is to go until October, but we are really focusing on activating the campus at the riverfront and just trying to have local vendors. I've shared vendor information. If you are a local community member, please share it with your community. We really want to have them sell their items, share resources that they might have. They can vendor at a low cost at $25. If they're unable to pay for that cost, we can, please send me an email and we can try to work on some financing for that program. But really want to make sure that we highlight our local businesses on trying to support our People's Market on the community. We are following with the CSU Spur community since they've activated this community for so long and really getting activations and traction. Our goal is just to extend that service and really provide more community activation. So please, if you're able to, just stop by, check it out. If you have a vendor that you would like to refer, I will send that as a follow-up on how to apply. But like I said, we're not trying to cause any hardship. So if you are finding that nonprofit $25 fee being too much, please email me and we'll try to find resources for that. So we're excited about that. The text platform, we are finally at 429. That might not seem a lot to a lot of people, but we are trying to build our text platform because as we get community free tickets, we will send out that information through this text platform. If we have a community benefit with a lot of the programs and the activations that happen on campus. So they will provide free community tickets, and as we receive them, we will send that out via text and try to get people to sign up for those free community tickets. We will provide, if you are in the 80216 neighborhood, we will provide, if they are charging for parking, we'll provide a parking pass as well as try to provide more support. But we really are trying to get individuals to sign up. If you are unable to do that because not everybody has a phone or a text platform, please, I will leave my information, so you can always call me too, and I will make sure that I get those tickets to you as they become available. And then I think there was a community update with the how many tickets. So up to date, my goal is to track as many individuals, how many tickets we've become available to the community. We have given out 503 tickets to the community as of today. Our goal is to hopefully serve 1,000 by the end of the year. We are, really trying to prioritize our members of 80216. So when you receive a text, a lot of the times they're asking for your zip code or they're asking for a like to fill out a form. It's because I really want to make sure that we are prioritizing our 80216 community members to receive those tickets. We have given out, so we do have a big event happening, and the reason why we're talking about it today is I know we're in May, but we were trying to really get that information out to the community before school ends. We are working with the Silva Foundation on providing 5,000 backpacks to the community. Our goal was to really try to see how we can serve our community as a whole. We are still in talks of how we can focus on the GS community and not just citywide. So whether this is a very large event, we really are trying to work on ways to support the 80216 community and having us sign up for our families, for their young kids, their young adults to be able to get a free backpack, as well as the haircuts and all of the services that we are able to provide on August 2nd. I did provide enough. I'll send this out to you guys, the PowerPoint, but it will have like the flyer for all of the information. If you want to table, if you have a nonprofit or if you have resources that you would like to provide at this event, we will have you guys table at this event, as well as provide opportunities. We've had a lot of community members reach out because they want to volunteer for that day. We are welcome to all of it because this event is really community informed and very community focused. So as large as it is, we really are focused on supporting the 80216 community. Currently, we have 48 vendors that are confirmed. Our goal is to hit 80 vendors. And we've blocked off that space and really trying to support kind of the young kids. So already excited about the event. So, the other thing I wanted to let you know that we do have an opportunity. So as a community member, if you have an initiative that you would like to provide to the community, we do have an application process. So if you have something in the school or you have a community initiative that you would like to provide, we have created a application process. So currently right now we have 14 GS community partners that have applied for those opportunities, and we have given out $10,000 to date of different initiatives. Our recent one was I think the block party for Swansea, Valdez Prairie Library, they're having their block party. So they completed a application process, and our goal is to support the community initiatives that are going on in our community and that support like kind of our community benefit. So if you are interested in applying for those opportunities, please reach out to me. I'm happy to share that application with you. It's a very short application, but our goal is to really support those community benefits in our community. And then for the community calendar, I did have a community meeting today. So there is a community calendar that is being shared around. I did create one as well because I really want to focus on how can we not have one event on the same day that everybody else is providing, the same services. We're trying to expand services rather than just saying you guys have to choose one or the other. So this community calendar is really to support kind of where we don't step on, other, corporations or vendors or community projects that are trying to do some community initiatives. So bear with me, I did include that community calendar, but I do know that there's another one that is being shared with Lacey Champion. So I want to be very mindful of, what's the best way to share these and these community engagements. So I will share Lacey's as well as mine, but it's really just to make sure that we're not booking events on the same day because we don't want to limit our community members to have to go to one event at one time. We're really trying to expand the services and hopefully they can go to multiple resources on those days. Yeah. So I think that's where we're at. I just want to say thank you so much. As I'm new in this role, I really am trying to meet different community members and go to all of the communities to really introduce myself and see how we can support each other. I've been, trying to work on trying to provide more services on the campus, but that's not my only role. It's really to provide more services and work with our local businesses on how can we collaborate to provide more extended services. So be patient with me. I'm still learning and I really want to be educated on the community before I just kind of go out there and say, this is what I think you need. I really am trying to be mindful of kind of educating myself in the community. But thank you guys so much for, just being patient with me.
Thank you, Lori. Eduardo.
So it's hilarious. Talking about doing the event the same day. June 24th, we're doing a new event at CSU Spur with Valdez Prairie Library, but also Johnson Rec Center is doing a movement. So we're gonna be competing. They're doing that in the museum. We're gonna be doing School of Rock. So it's gonna be really cool movies. Honestly, either option sounds great. I hope they have a great time. So those two, it's so funny. Competing schedules. And then the other cool thing that we have is we just released the educational program administration position for CSU Spur. If you are very good at scheduling and working with kiddos, please apply to this position. I can share it out.
Yeah.
To just put in your notes. Those are the two big things that I have for today. And second Saturdays, but that's always, I should have it stamped in my head.
I'm sorry, I didn't ask if anybody had any questions or comments for Lori now and Eduardo. I see a lot in the chat. From Angela, she was delighted to see Daniel from Emmanuel Bakery in the Pig Spring Fest was a collaboration with myself, Denver Park Trust, Greenhouse Connections, GES Coalition, Birdseed, Green Dot Coalition in District 9. Thank you. Armando is saying UCAN will be hosting home ownership programs on the second Saturdays venue. Wait a minute, there's one I missed there. Oh, that's the public newspaper. Claudia sent for her the email address for that. And Chris says, thank you, Claudia.
Thank you. And Angela, I heard your event was so amazing. So just excited to see all of the activations and it was a beautiful day that day. So I bet you got a lot of activations.
So now is an opportunity for us to open up around the community updates. Are there any updates from the community? Anyone would like to share?
Armando's got his arm up.
Armando? You're on mute, Armando. Marcy. Okay, Armando, you're unmuted.
Hi, Armando.
Sorry, we can't hear you.
Do you have anything locally needed? Chris, can you say something? Because we know your mic worked last time.
Yeah, test.
A little bit behind, but.
Sorry, Armando, do you want to put something in the chat for us and then we can read it because we can't hear you? Anyone else would like to make a comment or question, issue?
I would also like to share that, today during our community meeting, there was a lot of different community activations that are happening, in the next month. If you guys are okay with that, I would like to share that, in our follow-up email. If you do not want to have that communication sent to you, just let me know in your chat. But my goal is there's so many different events that are happening in June, in July, so I would love to share that in our post, notes.
Is there flyers going on from anywhere? Cause I
Yes.
usually don't get any flyers at my house
Yeah, so
from no one. So I
Yeah,
don't
so
know if
our
it's just my
goal-
house or my blog.
Yeah, so
But I don't get anything from anyone.
No,
so-
and I hear that as well. So our goal is to start to flyer on Wednesday. So Eduardo and our team are working on trying to do like foot flyering. I did get some addresses finally from the USPS to see like all of the locations in 80216, because our goal is not to just serve one community, it's really to serve 80216. So we did get the addresses. So we've got to really, we're starting on Wednesday, but our goal is to see what that first initial attraction is, because we want to do the foot traffic of going and delivering individually to these houses and communities. But also because mailing to individual households is very expensive. So, we're just trying to do footwork. But our goal is to start doing that on Wednesday. And our goal is to really focus on all of the communities but 11,000 households is kind of tricky for us to do with, 3 individuals, but we will work on, well, almost 4 individuals because Eduardo is hiring. So our goal is to really do a lot of flyering ourselves to really meet people and kind of do the own kind of knocking at the doors and trying to meet people. So I hear you, and I think that's been the constant concern. Some households are not receiving some of the flyering and some of the activations, and what is the best way? So our goal is to do the foot traffic and then still work on ways to activate, getting those activations and getting those newsletters and that information out to the community.
And mostly also because we want to see more community
Right.
at these spaces. We don't see much community.
Yeah.
That's because community doesn't know what's happening.
Yeah, and
It will be great that everyone can know about it, any event in the community. Like I said, I don't receive anything from anyone.
yeah, and so.
Not even from the rec center, and not even from the other organizations. I don't get anything online.
Yeah, and that's one thing
Location.
I haven't been strong enough doing, is going out to the rec centers to make sure that all of the flyers are fresh and, being present. So that is something that I will continue to work harder at being better at. Also, another thing that we are working on trying to kind of champion our community is really being a transportation. So I did talk to the community connector to see if there was any ways that we could have activation on the second Saturday, because there are so many community members that just don't have transportation, or it's not the easiest format just to get on the sidewalk and walk to our campus. So with that conversation was really, they did give me 2 contacts to really activate. It's a paid service, but we're willing to try to see how we can activate. And, CSUs for us have been really having that contact, is how can we get more people to be activated on campus and take that barrier of transportation. So we are working on that to try to activate starting in June 14th. And that is having a pickup space in all 3 communities and having a time where they can go and, be picked up at, rather than, well, I don't know what time they're coming and I don't have all day to just sit and wait for somebody to pick me up. So we really are working on, trying to get a time and location for all of those 3 communities to be picked up and provided transportation.
And I think that's a great idea, because remember 2 years ago, I think, at the trunk or treat, where you guys hosted an event and there was like 1,000
Yeah.
community members, and that was because there was transportation.
Yeah,
like myself, I don't drive, I can't drive even if I wanted to.
yeah,
Because of my health issues, so I have to use always transportation, connector, Uber. There's no buses that goes from one neighborhood to the other one, so it's hard sometimes to go anywhere.
yeah. No, that makes complete sense. And I know that Marcy had an update at our community meeting that the underpass was available. Is that correct? Where we can, I'm not sure, Marcy, I would hate to say it, and it's not my words, but, it was an underpass that we're able to use pedestrian, is that correct?
The Marion underpass.
Yeah, the Marion underpass that we're able to use. I know that was a struggle too. So if you had somebody drop you off, then we weren't able to use the underpass. So then it caused even more issues. So from what I understand, we're able to access that. So hopefully that will take away some of the kind of the pedestrian component as well.
I think that access is only from Elyria and Swansea and not from Glowville.
Okay. Thank you, Christina.
Any other comments? Updates? I was gonna
Yes.
read,
Sorry.
Okay, Angela. Yeah, please give me a minute, Angela. I'm gonna read, Armando's, note here. Just wanted to emphasize the great job that Lori is doing, and the home ownership program will be at 5115 Race Court conference room for 45 minutes, focusing in on generational wealth, first-time home buyers, certificates, etc. And then Armando is also saying, can Shannon provide any updates on the CIF? How many applicants? What is the selection criteria and timelines? Shannon's not here, but.
Oh, she's right there.
Oh,
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
okay, thank you.
Yes, Shannon Hoffman, project manager for the Global Elyria Swansea Community Investment Fund. She, her. We closed applications for the cycle 2 of the GES Community Investment Fund on April 30th. We received 32 applications, which is about the same number as what we received last year. But this year we received 3 applications, all in Spanish, so we were really glad to have that increase this year. Our selection committee is separate from our governing board, and we keep that group anonymous. That group has met and provided their recommendations and provided those recommendations to the board. We also have to go through a process with our fiscal sponsor to ensure that we request and get the correct information about each group that applies. We receive applications from nonprofits as well as individuals, as well as people that are using fiscal sponsorships, because we want people that maybe don't have a full 501c3 or organization to apply with their idea. And then Armando, I'm just gonna read from this email that I sent you earlier because it was just a more detailed too about the evaluation process. So March 17th, our grant reviewer application opened on our website, and by April 7th, we were able to seat our grant review committee. Grant reviewers are residents from all 3 neighborhoods, and again, we protect their anonymity. Grant reviewers read and score grant applications on the criteria listed on our website on the How to Apply page. If you scroll toward the bottom of the How to Apply page, you will see the following criteria. Meets a defined community benefit, housing, health, economic opportunity, art, youth elder engagement, community voice environment, aligns with the CIF mission based on historic inequities and recent redevelopment projects. The CIF exists to support and fund community wants, needs, and aspirations that focus on those inequities in surrounding neighborhoods of Globeville, Elyria, and Swansea. Application comes from DS residents and or people or groups with historic relationships to the neighborhoods. Viability of the project. Does the budget seem reasonable? Is the project partnered with other organizations, people in the neighborhoods? Grant reviewers are provided with a thorough rubric for this criteria. Grant reviewers submit their individual scores for every application. Those scores are combined and averaged. The grant review team meets with the project manager to review the ranking of scores and provide a final docket recommendation to the CIF governing board. The CIF Governing Board, separate from the Grant Review Committee, approves the docket of grantees or asks questions or does not approve the docket of grantees. But that is the process. We should be announcing those awardees very soon. Like I said, we just have to work with our fiscal sponsor, CNDC, to get their appropriate information. And we intend to announce a celebration of our grantees by mid-June. So that is our process as well as where we are at in our timeline. And I just had a question too about process for this meeting. After community updates, is there an opportunity for public comment in this meeting? Okay, thank you. And happy to answer any other questions about the community investment fund as well.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I was like, last year, I look at the grantees, but most of them were organizations or electoral organizations. How much of this funding is going to the residents of the community? Like directly to the residents? Like if someone wants to fix something or someone needs help paying the rent or someone needs, because I remember when we started talking about the investment fund, that was like 6 years, 7 years ago. I was part of those meetings and then I didn't get invited to those meetings. But I just wanted to know how, one of the things focuses were those things that funding should go to the residents of the community and I saw like two, I think that it was just for residents, but I didn't say for what. And I understand that their privacy, but also how much the funding is going to residents. I know it's also for organizations that work on projects in the community, but how many residents know about this area? Because I asked people and I even told people this year to apply, and I even told them that I can help them apply. It's just important for me that those funding go directly to the residents of our communities, because I've seen the needs of our neighborhoods, and we really need funding for whatever we need in that community. So,
Yeah, I think it's a really important question and we really agree that these neighborhoods that you really need funding and significant funding, much more funding than we are currently receiving to meet the needs in these neighborhoods. To some of your specific questions, there were some groups last year that were not 501c3s. One great example is Chad's group with the Swansea area bike, group. So like, that's not a 501c3. He brings people together to work on bikes and just had a community idea that was funded. We also were able to fund an organization that then went out and worked with a group, including Gil, I may say, you're in the picture, of folks that need some, repairs on their homes. And so in that way, individuals were getting that support, but it was coming through one organization that was kind of, managing that. But the other big thing that the governing body has, and I would say my understanding of how this group was brought forward is to build, community empowerment through bringing groups together. And so we are looking for groups and projects that are building that community power against displacement and some of these forces in the communities. And what we do around housing is probably around urgent need. Candy, go for it.
I just want you to know that there are people who were selected as individuals that chose to work with an organization as a fiscal sponsor because of the tax implications of accepting the dollars directly. And so it might continue to look like that, because if you receive a grant and you have benefits or for some reason you don't want to deal with the tax implications, we try to make it easy for individuals to partner with organizations to still be able to accept those dollars and implement their ideas.
yeah, I know that part, because I applied this year and I had to get a fiscal sponsor. Because we're not a 501c3. Also, I know there's not enough funding, and that's something that I keep asking. Are you guys open to apply for other foundations, and are you guys applying for other funding? More como se dice?
I think that, I think that.
The National Western Center only, but also more funding like the Denver Foundation, the Health Foundation, all of those foundations.
I'm happy to speak for the board because we actually hired Shannon. And that was a huge lift and we don't pay her nearly enough for what she does for us. And so what we've tried to do is be good stewards of the dollars that we have received. And in doing that, we maintain as low of overhead as possible, which means that does limit our ability to apply for grants, because that's a full-time job. And so we do apply for grants. We've received a couple of small ones to keep the organization going. But we try to make sure that all of the money that we're getting in from the roundup goes directly back out to community.
I also want to add that this year sorry, as my dog hacks up her lung. We had a lot of people come to our meetings that we had out in the community to discuss about what it was that we're doing. And it was interesting to have so many people come with their ideas. And I wished all of them had applied. I think it's still just a scary process, in particular with the government that we have now, in applying for things and being vulnerable with who you are and having your name out in the community. So, I mean, we're doing the best that we possibly can. Sandra, we used our monies, our $400,000 to do 2 mailings last year and this year to every single household in GES. We posted those cards at the bakery, Prodigy. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. The bakery, Prodigy, the rec centers. We put them in the food boxes at Birdseed, etc. We are doing the best that we possibly can with the amount of time that we have, the amount of people. As Candy said, Shannon is the only paid person. The rest of us are volunteers. We all give our time as much as we possibly can. And we all know that we're extremely busy. Thank you. Oh, additionally, I wanted to add, Sandra, for the Spring Fest, I did walk all the way up to your house and leave you a flyer on your mailbox, but there was also a dog chasing me. So I can't guarantee it actually stuck to the mailbox because I taped it. That dog was freaking me out. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Did you have another comment? I know.
No, that was it, about the flyer and the dog.
She's like, oh, cat, I like that. I'm a cat masquerading as a dog. Angela, did you have another comment?
I add something?
Sure, yeah.
Because there's a question in the chat about what's the accountability and how do we measure the success of programs? So we do give our grantees after they're awarded, they have a year to implement or use their funding. And so midpoint, we send them a questionnaire to give us feedback about how they're doing. If you go on our website and look at the projects page, most of the little informational blurbs there are from their mid-year reports. And then we ask for a report at the end of the year as well. And we'll do that on the second cycle too.
Thank you, Shannon, for that information.
Also, I have another question, sorry. Is it possible to get funding directly from the city? Because we've been asking the city for sidewalks, for this, for that. Is it possible to get funding directly from the city that can fund the project? And probably with that, being able to also do some of the work that we've been asking for a lot, for many years.
Good question and very timely one at that. That's exactly what we're requesting with the equestrian center. We're asking for an upfront allotment of the 2C dollars for the community investment fund. We're asking for 1%, which is a minimum and also a national best practice. We also said when we created the SIP that we did not want to exist to fill the gaps the city wouldn't do because of the historic divestment. And so we're trying to hold that balance But if you've ever tried to get city money, you know how difficult that is. And we are every day doing more than I have ever done for free for a board to make that happen. So yes, we are.
That's amazing. So like if you receive those funds, you would use them on sidewalks?
Well, not sidewalks, because now there's a new sidewalk program. We're trying to not do what the city should be doing. And is doing for everybody else.
Okay.
But for things like, oh God. For example, housing, we're passing out a document now, kind of.
Can we just focus a minute, because there's, before we get passing out documents, there is a process here.
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Shannon. And I want to be sure that everybody has a question before we get into the public comment period. And I think just this, and then I know Shannon, you're prepared for public comment, and we'll spend that time doing that, if that's okay. Yes, but yeah, go ahead, Candy, yeah.
No, I think that, for us, we obviously want to do things that we feel the city should be doing at scale, like housing permanently affordable in a variety of different ways. That's one of the things that we aspire to do, a revolving loan fund. That's something we aspire to do. But sidewalks, it just wouldn't be realistic. And I think now with the sidewalk tax, it just doesn't make sense for us to fill that gap. But there are opportunities for us to do some of the things that the city could or should be doing.
Wasn't there bond money for sidewalks?
Yeah. And
There was bond money for sidewalks and they're just not doing.
I just wasn't sure because of her comment.
Can you be recognized before you start speaking?
Yep.
Also, for like, it could be like for anything else, right? Also for planting trees, for air purifiers, like things that also that we need. Because I understand the housing part, but I keep saying, I even say to the developers, we keep building on top of contaminated soil. How we really getting all that before everything else, and like really having a program that can help the environment. Like we have CSU now, how can we work with CSU? They have the technology, how can you work with CSU with that part, and probably get together and get a grant together for that environmental part? How can you guys, ¿cómo se dice? Also go with developers and see how you can do the housing part. How can you go to different people and do the other parts, like having a grocery store? That's something that we've been asking also a lot, and
that's exactly what we do. So those people come to us to request the funding, and we distribute the funding via that community process that was outlined. And so, for example, Chad, his program with bike routes, that's obviously something the city should be doing, is doing. And Chad is organizing the people to advocate for the appropriate routes. The tree planting project or the tree watering project. The city plants trees, lots of organizations plant trees that never survive because families, households don't necessarily have the ability to pay for the water to keep the trees alive. So the tree watering project is going to ensure that anything that's getting planted in the neighborhood is surviving. And so those are the kind of ideas that we're also like really excited about.
And it will be great, I don't know if you already have meetings, but the public meetings that people can come and learn more about everything that CIF is doing. And maybe there'll be opportunity, there'll be a lot of stuff that we cannot, like I said, I know Angela says that she took a flyer and there was a dog, probably was my neighbor, I don't know, but again, it's just the communication, like I live in, there's two homes in the same property. So I don't know if the other person is getting everything, all the flyers, but every time I open the mailbox, everything is there, his stuff, so I don't know. But I think it will be really great that people knows more about the CNDF and see how the whole community can really work together. Like I see a lot of division still, and I really want everyone to work together because everyone has something for this community, resources that we can even use. So being open to have those resources and stop those divisions, and because it only affects the community when we see a lot of divisions, and we already have a historical division in our community. And it's really sad to see that that keeps happening instead of everyone working together and see how we can really help this community. So we can see it grow one day, that we can see it really beautified. Like, I used to live in ¿cómo se llama allá? Capitol Hill. And it's so different than here. Then I went to the west side. The west side is almost like here, so you can see the difference. So why can't we not have communities like Capitol Hill, like Cherry Creek? I think that if we all work together and we leave our divisions and hatred and whatever things we have historically and really work together. I know Armando has also some program also with housing and everything. Why not work together with them? Like, I believe that if we start working together instead of fighting and divisions, then we're gonna be able to accomplish something great in this community.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you.
I'm gonna move to Lori. Did you have a comment?
I did not.
Okay, Angela? I see your hand raised, Angela.
Yes, sorry, mute button. Sandra, I just want to address, what you're saying. I'm having my SIF hat on right now, and, you know, like I said, I don't know how many meetings we had, this year alone with, for people to come to meetings, and we had a lot of people come. The thing of it is they have to want to apply. They have to want to apply to receive those monies. And if they come and they listen to us and then they decide not to apply, we did what we could do. We can't do anything to force them to apply. I had people contact me and I said, contact Shannon. Shannon will help you through the application. She'll explain it to you. If you need, last year, Shannon helped some people write their application. That's what Shannon is there for. There again, we're all volunteers. The 6 of us are volunteers. There's only so much that we can do in this neighborhood. While in each individual neighborhood, while this community is small, 6 people trying to do this is hard. As you know, the 3 people who are going to be flyering, y'all gonna find out really, really hard. Take some water, wear some comfortable shoes. And yeah, I don't know if that was your neighbor's dog. It was a German Shepherd and he was jumping all over me. But I mean, we can only do so much. We only have so much money. We only have so much time. In a beautiful world, everything would be perfect, especially for this community that I have said continuously has been overlooked, ignored, and dismissed, not for years, not for decades, but for generations. And all we can do is encourage more people to apply, and actually apply and make, and I've said this before in meetings, for our residents to be able to make those dreams that they've had in their head, in their mind, in their hearts, in actual reality. That's all we can do is encourage them to actually make their dream come true. And we did that with the tree plantings last year with Chad. You're more than welcome to look at our website and see what else happened. Birdseed put together a fall fest last year to help us forget about everything that we have to deal with on a daily basis. And it was a beautiful thing. People love that. And they love having their neighbors come together. Gloveville First was able to assist so many people in getting lighting in their home, outside their home, railings, etc. Project Angel Heart was able to feed people in GES who have cancer, HIV/AIDS, Alzheimer's, kidney, lung disease, etc. Emmanuel's Bakery didn't have air conditioning. They now have air conditioning because of the CIF funds from last year. It's just everything that we've done. We're only in our 2nd year. Who's to know what's going to happen when we move into our 3rd, 5th, 10th, and hopefully 50th year into the future? All we can do again is encourage people to apply and to work together. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Okay. Shannon, can I go to Mike first, because you got some time, and then I'll come to you?
Yeah,
Or do you want to respond, or?
Yeah, I'd like to clarify
Okay, sure,
and
sure.
respond to Rebecca's question. just one, thank you, Angela, for that. I think that's like a really beautiful picture of our grantees. I just want to clarify that, when you said that I've helped people write grants, it's people that computers are not maybe the most accessible for them, and so they hand wrote their applications and we put those in. It would be inappropriate for me to help someone write their grant. Just also, just wanted to share that the list that we used to send our flyers came from National Western, so it's the same list. In terms of a timeline, to all the people who applied, we sent a timeline of when they would hear. We're required by our agreement with the National Western Center Authority to grant out these dollars by the end of June. It is not posted on the website simply because I'm just one person, but I think that is a great improvement we could work on for the future. Thank you for letting me respond.
Yeah, thank you, Shannon. Mike?
Oh, I just want to make a comment about the 2017 bond sidewalk funds.
Yeah.
I am asking Chris to bring an update on that from Dottie at the next CAC, so that everyone can understand where those dollars are going, and how to access the dashboard where you can see them. You'll see updates and know that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One thing, I just want to highlight that the SIF's entire budget for distributing grants is less than like one person's salary in National Western. So like we're working with very limited dollars.
Thank you, Candy. Okay, any more I'm sorry, community updates? Let's see, I just want to check here.
I've just never heard that.
Can you scroll down some more, because we did do the National Western Complex Development. Oh, any updates on the National Western Complex Development cost are currently at from Armando? I'm not sure I understand that question. You want to check, can you go again, Armando, maybe clarify it? Nope, still can't hear you.
Armando, I can respond to your, I think you said, Steve, do you have any information on the feasibility study on the hotel? What we are able to share is that, and what we've shared with this group and others, is that the average room rate in year one, which will increase over time with inflation, so just the first year of operations on the hotel, is $204.30. That's the anticipated room rate average over the entire year. And then the average occupancy over the term of the project, so 35 years, is intended to be 70%. 7% occupancy. Sorry, I'm virtual, so I don't share my germs with you. 160 rooms in the hotel. And then attorneys are requiring that the report remain confidential as it is part of a larger negotiation with the developer, but we are able to share those numbers.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, we'll close up the community updates, and now we'll open it up for public comment. And I think there are individuals who would like to make
Sorry,
public comment.
could I just jump in one more time? I'm just catching up to the chat here. Sorry, Catherine, just a couple other things. Armando, I can put into the chat a link to the dashboard on expenses. I think you're asking about, I think this is you, Armando, asking about costs. There's a link I can send you to answer that question. I'll put it in the chat.
Anything else, Steve? Thank you. And anybody for public comment? Sure. Could you just, I'm sorry, I don't know your.
Oh, Jennifer Winkle.
Thank you, Jennifer.
I have a couple things. First, with the feasibility study, how can, they're spending $800 million of our money. How can a piece of it be confidential? Like, how can decisions be made? We've been asking for the feasibility study for a really long time. how can that be confidential when it's public money being spent? I just don't understand how that, and I have another question.
Okay, Steve, would you like to respond to that?
It's confidential because it's part of a negotiation. We still have to reach a deal. That's why it's legally required to remain confidential, and that's the direction from our attorneys. Would love to share it, can't legally share it.
Well, then how can city council vote on it until a deal's made? So we don't really know what the deal is then. And I'm just really confused about that.
So the project support agreement establishes a budget, a not to exceed number. We have to go get the deal into that number. It's actually a really smart negotiating position of public dollars. The project support agreement also establishes minimum community benefits that have to survive the negotiation of the deal. So
Just so that I understand.
that's what the project support agreement does.
So just so that I understand, Steve, because I'm not a lawyer, it means that there is a public number that is available, and within the negotiations, you have to work at below that number, at or below that number. So there is public what the larger number is, but what's not public is the negotiations that get you to that number. Is that correct? Or did I
That's right.
misunderstand?
Yeah, that's right.
So there is a public number. Sure.
Yeah, that's the number in the project support agreement.
Let me just be sure. I think Jennifer had another question.
Yeah, I have another question on something else, but if Carol has a question about feasibility study, because I'm still, I don't understand how the council could vote on that.
Well,
without knowing it. But
the
yeah,
problem I have with this, the idea that without a feasibility study, that I can just know that this number, we shouldn't be below it. You're saying $800 million, you're asking me to tell the city, us to agree with, that the city should spend $800 million. I don't have a feasibility study to know whether $800 million is the right number. Maybe it's 500, maybe it's 200. So I don't get to see that before the decision is made. That information is not available to city council before the decision is made. Doesn't make sense to me. So the question to me isn't whether the feasibility study is good, whether it is confidential or not, but why is the vote being taken before the information can be made public? So that's my question. I mean, you can do what you need to do with your negotiation, but we as a community and as a city, with this large amount of dollars being put on the line, you're asking me to do that blind. I'm just saying, and I think it's been said in a number of different city council meetings and here and other places, we'll wait for the information. We can wait for the information, but we need to have a public feasibility study, public information that allows us to make actual decisions as to how we ask our representatives to represent us. I can't ask my representatives or tell my representatives how to represent me because I don't have any facts, Steve, and I just don't get it.
So let me see, I think that I would like to make a comment around this, Mike.
Yeah, so totally understand what the ask is. We are in a negotiating period with our development partner. And as Steve stated, the project support agreement establishes the financial envelope within which we need to bring the scope that is clearly identified in the project support agreement. The scope for the equestrian center, the hotel, the parking garage, the housing, and all the other related improvements, including the dedicated 4,000 square foot community building and the other community benefits. Those all have to be delivered within that envelope. So the feasibility study for the hotel is one specific and small component of the larger deal structure that we continue to work on, and it is confidential commercial information at this point. So the PSA gives us that financial envelope within which we have then the leverage to negotiate with our developer to say, all of this stuff that is clearly identified in the PSA needs to be delivered for this amount of money. You have to figure out how to do that.
Steve, can you
I would just
clarify
add,
for me what
if I
is
could
the
just add,
PSA, a public document?
Yes, absolutely.
So if there is
Listen,
information, PSA, and we could.
But there's no feasibility study. There's nothing to tell me that any of those things should be done.
Those things are part of what was voter approved in 2015 with the 2C for the full build out of phases 1 and 2 of the campus. And that's what we are doing as Nwca and the authority and the Department of Finance. They're delivering on what the voters approved back in 2015.
Okay, so we, as voters, some voters approved this set of things to be done, which is now very theoretical, right? I'm thinking these are things I might want done. Now we're down to the concrete, and this is how I'm going to do it. But I don't get to see the feasibility of how you're going to do it. I just wouldn't do that. I go, let's say I'm gonna remodel my house and I wanna put another room on it, and that stays very theoretical as we go through things. But I'm not gonna spend the dollars till I've seen the plans on how to do it. And I'm just taking my small little community experience of my home and saying my community is just bigger than that. You're asking me to put hundreds of millions of dollars into something that has not been made concrete to the public. It might be to the other partners, but it is not being made concrete to those people who have lost their homes, lost their friends, lost their businesses, and the people that I live with. And that's all I'm asking, and I don't think it's unreasonable, Mike. I think it's a very reasonable request. You wouldn't do it for your home, don't do it for my community.
Thank you for that comment, and.
if I may just say one thing, that just to jump in real quick, that you know, what the city attorney's office does with city council and privileged confidential meetings is their prerogative. I mean, they can share if it with city council members if that helps inform their decision.
We don't.
Is someone talking over me?
No, go ahead. You have the floor.
And this happens with many deals that are in active negotiations. So city councils have the opportunity to have confidential briefings with city attorney's office. Getting it out into the public is the risk that would risk the negotiation and actually risk tax dollars.
Can I respond to that? Okay, I'm gonna, one more just, and then I'm gonna turn to Jennifer, because we're having just a private conversation, not a private, but a conversation where there's not gonna be.
Well, there's an end here.
Okay, good.
So I don't think you totally understood my statement, Steve, because I'm not asking for you to, or the attorneys for the city, to provide confidential information to the neighborhood. What I'm saying is this project should not go forward until you provide the information that is necessary for the community to make a valid decision. So it's,
Thank you.
that's what I'm asking for.
That's a statement. I thank you for that. And it is, I think, heard by everyone here at the meeting. So, I think we're going back and forth when the positions are really clear. So, can I ask you, Jennifer?
I have a question and then another comment on a different issue.
Sure.
Is this P3 and is a hotel and housing eligible for 2C dollars?
So, technically, you could describe it as a P3, as a public-private partnership, because we have a private development partner who is delivering the project for us. And the entirety of the project is being delivered with 2C dollars. That's what the PSA states, and that's what's before council on Monday.
So can you pull that chat room up again, please? So Dwight has some supporting documents that may be helpful.
Great, thank you, Dwight.
The project support agreement and then additional financial background documents on the National Western Center. And these documents are all public, but if you would like us to give you those websites, we can. You have them.
I've got those.
Oh, okay. Okay. Jennifer, you said you wanted another, you want to make a statement?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure, okay.
There's a concern that there's a co-opting of language, around community control and the people's market on campus that been brought forward by the GES Coalition. Is it intentional to use the language the GES Coalition has used for years or accidental? And if it's accidental, are you willing to have a community conversation about repair on around that?
Could you say that one? Could you repeat that? I just.
Yeah, so using the term people's market, that's co-opting language that the GS Coalition has been using.
Okay.
And so is that intentional or accidental?
If it is messaging that is out there, it would be accidental because this like collective language has been something that we talk about, like how can we support kind of our community as well as, you know, just like we were gonna try to do the markets at the riverfront. And so we've talked about like different language for that, but it's not always gonna be at the riverfront due to like the weather and seasonal. So then we really wanted to kind of address it with people's market. So it would be accidental. It would not be purposeful.
Okay.
And for what it's worth, a brand new member of our team came up with the name of
Oh, so
that,
they didn't
and
know
so
that.
they had no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't.
Okay.
intentional, it had
Yeah.
nothing to
Okay,
do
are you
with
guys
GS.
willing to work on some repair around that? You know,
We could have a conversation about
Okay,
that.
thank
I
you.
feel like everything is meant for a conversation.
Thank you.
There's
There's
already-
no person, they don't know, yeah.
Is that already a Sandra's
market?
Sandra, wait,
Oh, sorry.
okay. I want to be sure that everybody, that we're each being, we're hearing and listening and doing it in the process. We've all agreed to that. Okay, Jennifer, have you finished?
Yeah, that's, we're talking about like the People's Plaza that we did and the People's Survey. So it's language that GES has been using for quite a while. But it sounds like it is accidental.
It really is.
Yeah, that makes. yeah.
I started in December and then we had some new like marketing team that has started on who we've partnered with kind of messaging. So it would have been completely accidental. I haven't heard that, so that was, you know, like I said, it's open to conversation.
Okay,
for
well,
sure.
we look forward to having a conversation around it. And thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, it's like, if a firm came up with this idea, then we know if we're on the right track.
Right.
We didn't pay anybody.
Marketing firm, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
marketing. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Okay, Sandra?
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just asking if there was already like a people's market.
No, the People's Plaza.
On Plaza, and where is that and how is it? Cause I never heard of it, so that's why I'm asking.
Events that GS was doing back in 2022.
Oh, okay.
The implication is that it's endorsed by, or that it's
Yeah.
consistent with what was proposed by the neighborhood.
There might be confusion, right?
Right,
Yeah.
we want to make sure that there's no, that it's not.
Unless
The
they're
GS Coalition is saying,
able
yeah,
to
we like.
implement the vision,
Yeah.
then it's not.
But it was open to everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
For many years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that, you know, my response, individually is I am open to any kind of conversation and also open to any meetings that you guys have. If you guys want to invite me, I am happy to attend just to be part of these conversations. I wasn't privy to them previously, but I am new, but I would like to be kind of included in some of these conversations. So we're not stepping on,
Thank
you know, some of these conversations or some of these, kind of titles.
Okay, I
moving forward.
appreciate that.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Any other comment or, public comment?
I got a question.
Yes.
My name is Jessica, and my question is for the NWCA. We'd like to know if it intends to negotiate with the Community Investment Fund regarding the request for the $16 million. And what you offered, if you're gonna offer a counter or offer a negotiation to the table.
Steve, were you able to hear that?
I think I heard that. Yeah, I think you're directing it at the National Western Center Authority, and the authority doesn't have $16 million, and it generates its revenue from events. And the CIF revenue that we do provide is through different sources, including the Roundup, but are from buildings that we have built and are from revenue generating assets. That's been our position. I don't actually think the CIF is asking the authority for money. I think the CIF is asking the city for money. But that's the authority's position, and we want to be your advocate. We want to support you and want to continue to provide you revenue.
And Mike, can you comment on that as well, please?
So I know that city attorney's office is meeting with counsel from CIF tomorrow. That is the next step. And that is all I can share right now.
Okay, AE,
Can you hear me?
yes?
First of all, hi, everybody. Sorry I couldn't participate more. I wanted to ask, in connection with the discussion around the market, I appreciate hearing people wanting to address the marquee of, the marquee name, and I think that's important. It's also, my understanding is that this is a third-party vendor that has, I think it's Bonfire Event, that has a platform, a software platform that provides a pretty sophisticated organizational structure for the digital organization of the market, and that it's doing this in various parts of the country. And I think the reason I like to get first understand the full scope of it, there were a lot of ideas and concepts throughout the discussion of the development of the National Western Center project around markets and that kind of a thing. So I think it's a broader discussion, and it would be helpful for people to understand what the relationship is between the third-party entity that is providing the structure for this. And I truly don't know how to evaluate its impact and its potential. I just want everyone to fully understand what the relationship is, and maybe somebody, and I don't know, Lori or Steve or Mike, or who would elaborate on what the relationship is, and where is the creativity possible in the discussions in the broader, more grassroots concepts. And then related to that, just one other quick thing. And I don't know if it would be Mike or Steve, in the context of discussing what you can and cannot discuss in the legal constraints, et cetera, about the PSA, et cetera. Can you elaborate in as much detail as possible what would be the entry points, assuming the PSA is approved? What would be the entry points that would be that we could be confident from within the neighborhoods are design, programming, use in the broad sense, not just the community, but where does the conversation continue to open up how this actually emerges when it's implemented, built, and programmed? How much flexibility is there? Where can we spot it? That affects line item applications, I think, to some extent, but I don't know. Can you elaborate on that at all?
Yeah, I can't speak to your first question on the marketing. Maybe Jenna is in the room, can answer that. But to your second one, yeah, the intent of the creating the Equestrian Center Task Force is to have in-depth focused meetings for the next several years, all the way through completion and after completion of the project. So I mean, it's going to be 2.5 to 3 years before it opens, and so that was intended to be the touch point. We are we are not progressing design at the moment. We need the project support agreement to continue to fund design, and so we will restart those conversations following approval, and then it's getting the design discussions first, because we got to design it before you construct it, and then moving during construction, moving into the operational discussions of how should this operate, especially around the community space, as it, is for the community. I'm not sure if that answers your question. Always open to other ideas and ways to engage and talk about these things.
I'm happy to speak on.
On the first one?
The first.
Yeah.
one.
Okay.
If that's helpful. Jenna Garcia, I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications. I think, since the inception of this project, since the master plan, we've envisioned this place as being a convergence of people and cultural experiences and experiences. And this is precisely what we've always envisioned. We're finally at the moment where we can come together as CSU Spur, as the National Western Summer Authority, and other community partners as we come together and offer both community, hyper-local community members, as well as general community Denver metro area, an opportunity to experience our campus on many different levels, many different facets. But we haven't enough a special place in our hearts, of course, for GES businesses and individuals who have an interest in selling and being vendors at those people's markets, and that's precisely why we named it People's Markets. We want to ensure that it's inclusive of everyone, and we are offering hyperlocal communities and individuals to be able to be vendors at that market for free, if they so choose. We're also partnering up with Bonfire, who is a local community organization that specializes in farmers markets and things of that nature. So they're really the experts in this area and kind of teaching us how to do this the right way. Because we are learning as we are with everything else, but we're absolutely open to feedback, and of anyone who's interested in participating or partnering with us on this initiative, we would be more than welcome them to the table and invite them to participate, especially if they're a hyperlocal community organization or individual. We invite them to do that for free.
So Jenna and Steve, I appreciate those answers, and I'd like to suggest, in the spirit of what you're describing, Jenna, an open meeting with the neighborhoods with bonfires. I think, yeah, I mean, this is maybe a moment where we can recognize where the authority office is. I appreciate that they're helping you learn how to do this and that kind of thing, but I think part of what defeats the sense of relational transparency is that you go behind the scenes to make the choice on the infrastructure of the relationship in, say, a market, and then at the point that the major model is decided, you come out to us with it, and there it is. So if we could have a public open discussion with Bonfield, and I'm not objecting or approving myself, I have concerns about scaling as opposed to componenting, but I would like to ask if that's possible for let us learn from the group as well and be a peership in it.
Absolutely, we would absolutely invite you to the table on that. And just to be clear, the intention was never to go behind the scenes and never to cut the community out of that conversation. At the end of the day, it was a capacity only decision. We're a staff of 12 people right now, and to put on a festival for thousands of people is just beyond our capacity right now. And Bonfire is oil machine. Yeah, they do this all the time. So we were able to partner with them on a mutually beneficial agreement. But just to be clear, this was never to cut out the community. We would absolutely welcome you to the table, AE, or anyone else in this room or within the community who wants to be a part of that.
Hey, Jennifer, I really want to reinforce there's nothing here that I'm saying that I want you to feel you have to say it was never the intention of cutting the community out. I don't want people to be defensive. This is all just sensitivities and perceptions and how things we're all working trying to figure this out. So it isn't about personally accusing anyone of motives, but it is a really important perceptive of mutual experiences. So I appreciate the progress. I'm inviting y'all out into the neighborhoods to meet, not just to have the neighborhoods at the table. I think it would be really come over to Birdseed, come over to one of the places, and let's really have some creative conversations.
Thank you, AE.
We would love that,
Thank you.
and if you're able to help facilitate those conversations, we would welcome it, absolutely.
Thank you.
I'll do everything I can.
Thank you, Lori.
Lori Arita, the National Western Center. I also wanted to say that I really am trying to use the networks and the meetings that I am privy to right now. I'm trying to share those networks, and my direct contact with Jay at Bonfire has been very community focused on making sure that we are affordable to have our community members an 80216 table at a very low cost. And if they are still unable to afford that cost, they can still apply, and I will work on trying to provide some funding for the source. So we really are trying to have that community focus, and I have that that meeting with him every week. But our goal is, once we get this started, our goal is to then see how can we reach more individuals and more community members, and bring community members to the table to see how we can really focus on more of that community benefit. So as we work towards that, I will kind of reach out to the community members and reach out to people part of the CAC to see how we can better this process.
So in the last few minutes that we have here, I'd like to be sure that everybody who's in the public comment has had an opportunity to speak. If they wanted to raise any issues in their public comment. Yes, Sandra.
Sorry. Oh, I just had a comment who someone talked about $60 million or $60 million. I wanted to ask, what is that for? And this community, I mean, how are you guys asking for $60 million, and does the community know about it? And
Yeah, I'd love to respond. Is this an appropriate time to
Yes,
pass out
thank
this
you.
information?
Yes, thank you.
Wonderful. Candy, could you kick this off while we pass this out?
I think that, we've talked a lot about what the community needs and what the gaps are. And so CIF didn't emerge as an organization that any of us wanted to start. It was created by the framework agreement and the National Western Center project. And so some of the needs that we've identified that are not being met by outside entities include the revolving loan fund in addition to the grant making. We talked about technical assistance for the neighborhood to apply for the many things that National Western and other city entities make available that people don't know how to compete for or don't have the technical assistance to be able to write applications for. And we have a strategic plan that will be public pretty soon. I'm not sure, we're in the middle of requesting the dollars, so we haven't had the time to update the website with it, but the $16 million would specifically be for capital eligible projects in order to be compliant with 2C dollars. So, we asked the question of, is a hotel and housing eligible under the 2C dollars, and they are. So that kind of gives you an idea of what the spectrum of eligible projects might be. We believe strongly that housing will be one of the most requested projects in our neighborhood. It is what we see the most in all the grant applications. And so, yeah, we're trying to do the will of what community is asking us to do, and we can't do it on a single person's salary. We can't serve the whole neighborhood with $100,000 a year. And we're trying to make something meaningful to be able to give the CIF a good chance at solving some of the challenges the community is asking us to help them solve.
And with these 60 millions, are you asking it through the National Western Center or directly from the city?
2C dollars. So the voters passed the ability to spend lodgers, percentage of lodgers tax and taxis. And so that is basically what the what has funded, a huge portion of phases 1 and 2. The equestrian center completes phases 1 and 2. And there was 800 million that was already spent. And now we're being asked, or city council is being asked to authorize access to 800 million more dollars for the hotel and equestrian center. What we're saying is the community has received less than $100,000 a year. And we deserve at minimum 1% of the $1.6 billion that have been spent on phases 1 and 2. And so that $16 million is that 1%. We have been open to how that gets paid out to the community. But what we're saying is it's not possible for the community to wait for 40 years for annual distributions of $100,000 to $300,000 a year. It wouldn't actually help our community in any meaningful way to do that.
And if it happens, like if you guys receive the $16 million, who's gonna manage that and how's the community gonna benefit from that, like the broader community, like even me, Maria, Karen, Ishak. I keep forgetting names. So how they're gonna benefit from this $16 million? How am I gonna benefit from this $16 million? Cause I hear $60 million and I hear $100 million and I hear millions and millions of dollars, but how is that really benefiting me and my family? How is that benefiting my neighbors? So it's like, again, who's gonna manage it? And how are we all gonna benefit as a community, like everyone?
Well, that's actually the process that Shannon outlined at the beginning of the meeting, how the SIF operates. The SIF is open to people in the
So
community.
it will go directly to the SIF.
Correct.
And people can
And then
apply
people
for that.
apply, and then it gets distributed. Decisions are made by community members.
So it doesn't have to be just for housing or
Right.
for replacement.
Right.
It can be for fixing her bathroom or fixing
All of the things.
my
we've
car,
already mentioned.
my invisible car that I had. So it will be for anything.
Yes, and that was, I guess, one really good part of the framework agreement is the SIF is designed to meet the needs and desires of the GES residents.
And another question, so who votes for the SIF? Como se dice, the committee that you have and who also votes for the board at the SIF? Like if I wanna be part of the board or I wanna.
Apply. Come and help us out. Come and
So
help
you
us
have
out.
an
Yeah.
application on the
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
And
so I
it's-
applied as well and I got denied, but yeah, I wanted to be part of that.
There is a rubric for people specifically who live in the neighborhood to be
Okay.
prioritized in those decisions.
Okay.
And that's like very basic.
It sounds like it might be helpful, Sandra, to have a conversation with Andy and Shannon about your particular issues and questions. That would be really helpful that you could share with other neighbors. So, we have only a few minutes left. I'm wondering if there's any final comments from the public.
How cute the babies are.
Yeah, all both babies are beautiful. Both babies are beautiful. I want to thank each and every one of you who came here tonight, and we had a very rich discussion. Thank you for adhering and putting up with my rules that were agreed to by the committee. So I'm your facilitator based on what you've asked me to do, and I hope that you understand that we do have a process, and I appreciate all the help in making sure that that process works for everybody. So thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you for this, by the way. This is helpful.